welcome to the Beauty Shaman. So this is part 4 in a 4-part series? I think we're doing a 4-part series. I can't remember what we've done.
This is the finale.
This is the grand finale. So we are going to cover in this video hooded lids. So hooded lids is the, oh my gosh, such a huge, one of my other top videos I've put out, and clients ask me this question all the time. So this is going to be, our focus today is Tiffany's lids and getting her eyes to pop out because she has beautiful eyes and we really want them to jump out, but we don't want them to look overdone. So a big part of hooded lids. So what, Tiffany, what is your question when it comes to hooded lids? What do you want to know?
Well, as my skin gets older and I'm losing that yummy collagen, it's thinner on my lids for one. So how to use colored, should I do matte, should I do spark, like how do I utilize all this real estate up here, but then still get definition under the crease.
Right.
So that my eyes still have that drama, or just being able to see color at all. Whenever I put color in my eyes, I'm like, I can't see it because they're hidden.
Right, yes. Yes, and I think that's a great question. So what we're going to do today is help Tiffy's eyes to pop, but we're going to make it, Tiffy, I just called you Tiffy.
That's
Is that
okay? I love Tiffy.
We've known each other for a super long time, so it's Tiffy. But anyway, we're going to make her eyes pop out, but we're going to make it more of a daytime look. So it's not like, okay, it's going to take you an hour in the bathroom, right? Because that's the hard part, is learning these new techniques without having them be cumbersome. And I feel that we need something practical as women, but we want to look beautiful. So that's kind of my aim here with this. So let's get going on your hooded lids. To do Tiffany's hooded lids, I've actually decided to use a palette that I recently purchased because I have makeup issues and I have way too much makeup. And this is Anastasia. So this is the palette. I love this palette. So you can see the camera. Sorry, I'd like to do that. So I love this palette. It's perfect for what we're going to do. I love all the neutral tones and rich warm tones, which are great for Tiffany and for her eye color. And that's basically what we're going to stick with, is really warm, warm kind of neutral, warm brown tones. So to start off with, we're going to do this color right here. This is called Fresh. Let me hold this in front of your face. It's called Fresh. And then we're going to graduate and go to Birch, okay? To do her eyes.
Now I've heard, Suzanne, that if you have, like, I have hazel eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're green, sometimes they're more brown. And I always, of course, want to bring out more of the green. So I've heard sometimes color can help do that.
Sure. So I like using brown on you. I just think it just really pops. It's so beautiful. But if you have green hazily eyes, using a slight bit of plum, or in fact, I have another palette that I'll pull out. It's a Lorac palette, and it has a little bit of a oh God, what's the word? Mauve. That would look so gorgeous. So we'll use that kind of as I'm finishing up. But just for start, we're going to do these, and then I'm going to add a little bit of that, and that will pop your eye color. One interesting thing is, to pop your eye color, you don't need tons of that particular color. So for example, if you have blue eyes and you want to pop them, you could use like a blue-gray, and you don't need a ton of it, just a little bit, and it'll pop the color. I think we get confused on what pops your eyes and what doesn't. So I would say on your eyes, we're going to use a very small amount, and it'll look incredible. So we'll do that after I'm done doing this part of it. So we're going to start with Fresh, and I'm going to have you hold the palette if you don't mind, so I can.
These colors are amazing.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I know, we're both I'm in love with this palette, by the way. Oh, the palette is called, let me just say the palette. Oh, okay, it's called Sultry by Anastasia.
Yes, we are.
Totally. Okay, so I'm going to use this color on Tiffy's lids. Just lightly spread that around her lid.
This is your Bob Ross.
My Bob Ross?
That's the way you said that. It was like Bob Ross.
Oh, really?
Just a little bit.
Well, I am sort of a painter, so that kind of works, doesn't it? So we're going to do both lids. Just very, we're not going to think too hard about this. We're just doing a nice lid color. Tiffy, you have a little bit of oily lids, which is very, very common. So this will just help to matte that out. You don't have it too badly, so I'm not going to do like a base or anything.
What are your thoughts on using concealer on the lids?
I use concealer on my lids because I have a lot of discoloration on my lid, and I don't have oily lids, so I can pull that off. But if you have oily lids and you want to cover on your lid, I would say get an eye base. Lots of lines make great eye bases. I think I have a MAC one called Painterly that I love. And I just put that on, and it just wipes out any discoloration, and it keeps the powder on your eyelid.
That's wonderful.
I love that. But if you don't have oily lids and you don't have discoloration, don't do it, because it's just adding more, and sometimes less is more, right? Okay, so for the second step here, we're going to use Birch that I showed you earlier. And I'm going to use this brush here. So I've got too many brushes. This brush here, this is my crease brush with a nice little tip on it. Okay, now look down, but don't close your eyes and chin up.
Look down. Just look down. Eyeballs.
And I'm going to start right in the center of her eye. We're just going to lightly put this color. And I really work with the color. And I think this is a hard kind of technique to learn, but I just, see, I'm just working with it. I'm not slapping it on. I just use a lot of short strokes and I just work with it and blend it in. And I'm leaving the lid kind of open, right? I'm not going to put this on her lid. Just putting it, and I'm putting a little bit more in that outer edge. And I'm going to pull that in. Now I think the thing with the style right now, the 80s are back, right? And everybody's doing this lovely wing, which is kind of rough on older women. I would say I'm not keen on that. I want to pull her eyes up, so I'm focusing up here and on this outer edge. And then I just blend, blend, blend. Just to softly run it over her lid a little bit once my brush is clean, because I just want to really work that in. Okay, look at the camera. Nice. So see how that popped up her hooded lid? Nice, yeah?
So true.
So one of the key techniques with this is just to grab a little bit and then work with it. So it's not like I'm grabbing gobs or that I'm returning to the color. If you notice, I dip it in the color, I tap it on my hand to get rid of any excess, and then I start working it into your skin. I don't go back and back and back because it's just too much. And I think it's always easier to add more than it is to take away. It's very hard to remove. You can do it, but it's hard. So in this instance, I just kind of worked with that. But you can see how that just really helped her crease. It's like popped her eyes a little bit more. And now we're going to do a little bit of eyeliner, and then I'm going to work with that a little bit to make her eye pop out even more. Okay, so to move on with her eyes, I'm going to do a little bit of an eyeliner, and I'm going to do a waterproof, this is a MAC Kajal brown border, it's called Technicolor liner. So this is waterproof, and I really love this because it doesn't run down your face. It tends to really hold up well. And for hooded lids, I think waterproof is great because then it doesn't hit the top of your eye, right, and leave a mark. And that is so, right, so many people were all nodding in the room, like, yeah, we understand this. So that's why I really like this. And I also set it with a little bit of eyeshadow to keep it on. So I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so I'm going to do your waterline, so look down but don't close. And I'm going to go right underneath Tiffany's, I know, it's so weird. Someone sticks a pencil in your eyeball. Wherever I put it, look away. So look over here at me and down. Good. And we're going to just drag that.
Sorry,
it's quite
guys. I've never been filmed doing this before, so it's like...
Look down. Okay. You do that. Good. Let's see. Okay, good. And that just gives a little bit more definition. Breathe, breathe. So that's her waterline. Just adds a little bit of definition. Now I'm going to go between her lashes on the upper line. Okay, so go ahead and close. Close, yeah. And I'm going to take the pencil and run it underneath. So I get right between the lashes. And the easiest way to do this yourself is to go from beneath, right? So much of what we try to do when we do liner, we try to go from above, and it just smudges all over the place, right? It's super frustrating. Come from underneath and work very slowly, kind of like what I'm doing here. And I slowly go along that eye line. Again, just small strokes, right? And I'm just aiming between these lashes just to get it to add density. And I'm not going for perfection, you guys. Like, it's a little messy, and I'm actually okay with that. And I'll show you why, because I'm going to touch it up with a little bit of eyeshadow. Or you can just blend this. We'll work with both. But that's nice. See how? Look at the camera. Okay, do me a favor. Look over at me, and I'm going to try to get right in this corner. Good. If you can get, okay, look at the camera. See what that did? Really beautiful. Just highlighted the edge right along the eye line. Okay, now I'm going to take the slanted brush that I used on her eyebrows, and we're going to put this, close, we're going to run it over the top. And that just gets rid of any of those bumpy edges. You can use your finger, but fingers do tend to wipe it off a bit. So brushes are a little better when it comes to that. And then I'm going to take my Anastasia Lovely Sultry, because we want to be sexy today for whatever reason. And I'm going to dip it in Dystopian. So I got to hold it in front of you. Dystopian, this kind of dark brown here. And I'm going to run that right over the top. And just lightly, like I'm just kind of making it a tiny bit smoky. Because that way this sets it so it's not going to rub up on her lid. And it doesn't look like a line, because I'm very anti-lines for older women. We want everything to be so soft. Okay, have a look. Really pretty.
Wow.
Isn't that gorgeous? I think that looks amazing on Tiffy. So now, just to finish this eye, and then I'll do the other eye, I'm going to actually go back to my palette here, and I'm going to grab a little bit of Dystopian, the same brown that I used, and I'm going to go a little bit, look up, on the outer edge. Just a touch, and I go between the lashes. So many of you go way too heavy underneath on the bottom, and it looks way too much. If you can see, I'm just touching it, just to give her a little bit of definition underneath. Okay, look at the camera, and then her eyes pop out. It's beautiful. All right, I'm going to do her other eye now. Okay, so I really think this looks super flattering. Her eyes are popping out. Her lids have receded a little bit. It looks so beautiful. I really think this is super flattering on Tiffany. Now I'm going to do a little bit of iridescent, because you like iridescent.
I love it. I just always want to be like elf lady.
Yeah.
Elf queen. Let's go for that.
Okay. I love it. And Tiffany is definitely like elf or fairy or one of those. It's all wrapped up in there. So we're going to use our little Anastasia that we are both madly in love with here. And I'm going to use my finger, and I'm going to tap it into, I'm going to do steampunk. I'm kind of like, this might be too much. I don't know. We'll see. But it's this color right here. We're going to do a little experiment here and see what this looks like. So I'm going to touch my finger in it. See if this is, okay, close. And I'm just going to touch a little bit right on your lid. Just a sec of it, right? Because you don't want...
You're barely touching.
I'm barely, because it really transfers. So if I used a brush right now, you'd look like you had, like smoked something for lunch, right? Like it's really too much. So we're just going to do that. And then I'm going to use a brush and just kind of softly blend it into the rest of the eye. A little bit. Just so she gets, okay, open, look at the camera. So it's just a hint, right? Wow. It's just a teeny tiny hint, which I think is really super pretty. Keeping with what I talked about early on in the video, we're going to do a little bit of a violet, just to show how to wear a little bit of color with all these neutrals and golds, okay? Even though neutral and gold is gorgeous on you, we're going to put a tiny bit of color. So this is a Lorac palette here, which is, of course, mucky because it's in my kit. Everything in my kit gets a little mucky. And here's the color here. It's called Amethyst. So that's a beautiful, just lovely mauve. I don't know why that word won't stay in my head today. All right, so I'm going to touch the brush. Just touch it. I need you to hold that. And I'm going to touch it on my hand, because see how much came off, the residual? Close your eye. And we're going to do just a little bit on that outer edge. That's all we're going to do. I'm just going to tap that in. Maybe a little down by the eye line. So I've got a lot going on here, right? We've got the gold in the center, and I've got a tiny bit, look, open your eye, tiny bit of mauve. Ta-da! Ta-da! Just a tiny bit. And, so much of these subtle little things are what make your makeup really unique if you want to do a unique look. Adds a lovely depth to the makeup, and it adds a tiny bit of color. Mauve is wonderful. I think especially, I love mauve on really dark skin. So if you're black or Latino and you have that much darker skin, even Asian, oh my God, it just leaps out. It's so amazing. And sometimes white people got to watch it, like it can be a little too much. So, but I think on this, it's absolutely beautiful. I think that looks totally gorgeous, right? Okay, so let's finish the whole look. Okay, we're using Maybelline Great Lash Mascara.
Your favorite?
My favorite, I know. I had a lady in the makeup room, I have to tell the story really quick, who I was putting this on her, and she looked down her nose at it, and she said, "That's what I used before I had money."
Oh. Well.
I said, "How nice for you."
And I'm putting on your lashes now.
But I use it because I love it. Look down. And because it's inexpensive and I go through so much of it. So anyway, that's my reasoning. And doggone it, I'm sticking with it.
Well, and honestly, I've had the Chanel, and I've had had, you know, some of the higher end stuff, and nothing works as well as
Good
this.
old Maybelline Great Lash. I know. That's how I feel too. I mean, trust me, I've tried so many, and I just kind of always go back to this. So, okay, so moving on to lippies. So we are going to do a Jane Iredale color called Natalie. So I love this color. It's a beautiful kind of fuchsia pink, and Tiffany looks incredible with fuchsia pink lipstick. I love that that's really your color. You know, all your lipsticks are basically fuchsia. So this is a wonderful pink. And you can just pull this off so beautifully, even with no other makeup on. It really works on you. I mean, some of you can't really just only wear lipstick. It just kind of doesn't work. Like you have to use mascara as well or something else. Some of you can. Just go with what works. I'm basically going to use a matching lip liner and just kind of fill in the line so it doesn't bleed. Lip liners are great because they keep your lipstick from, you know, spreading, right? We all have a tendency to spread. Okay, I'm going to do a little tiny bit of blush because we've got lots going on. Shiny, beautiful lips. Hooded, her eyes are incredible. We're going to do, this is a Jane Iredale blush called Barely Rose. I like this because it's just a really soft blush, and if you do your kind of little smile that you do, and their cheeks are so right there. Some of you, if you have a lot of cheek color, you don't need blush. Others of you, if you need a lot. I tend to love blush on me. I'm a big blush fan for myself. You don't need a whole lot. So, okay, so this is the big reveal for Tiffany having her hair and makeup done. I just did her hair, and I did kind of a loose French wave with a curling iron, and I just basically sectioned it off and just did very loose waves without curling the ends. If you notice, the ends are kind of just out, and I like that look because this is just sort of a very like, oh, I just woke up like this kind of a look, right? So let me get you a mirror so you can have a reveal.
There should be a song playing or something.
I know, right? We need some disco music.
Ooh la la.
I know, right?
Oh my God, it's beautiful. I love it. And I just had my hair doesn't always look like this. I just got it colored like 2 days ago. So it's all happening for me right now. So if it wasn't like still quarantine, I would go out dancing. I'd put on a flirty dress and probably go out dancing.
I know, right? And some glitter, like, you need like a,
like
a, what do you call it? What are those things you wrap around your neck that are all like glittery? I can't think of the word, but yeah, you need something like that.
I love this lip color.
Yeah, isn't that pretty? It's a beautiful
It is so you.
I love.
You are fabulous.
All right, so this is the fabulous hooded eye look, but we've obviously extended it to beautiful pink lips and a lovely sort of, French wave hair. So we just have to go all out, right? But anyway, thank you so much, Tiffany, for being a part of this series, and thank you so much for watching. Please put any comments you have below. I always respond, and thanks so much for watching The Beauty Shaman.